Hello and welcome back to part 18 of the Enterprise NX-01 build. Today we're going to actually start building the flashboards for the nav lights and the strobes. Real simple, great effective way to build flashboards inexpensively when you have to put them together yourself. Gary Hughes, who I bought the light kit from, has great instructions on it, so let's take a look. Well, hello. Today we're going to work on the flashboards for the NX-01. There's two of them. They're pretty much the same. They have a variable resistor, so that's what gives you the timing, so you can actually adjust how fast or slow you would like them. So one will adjust fast and one will adjust slow. And Gary has nicely put everything you need in one package so it doesn't get mixed up with everything else. We'll build one and then I'll build the other one off camera, because we'll build one. And then I think on part 2 of this, we'll build this one here is for the SARD collectors that makes them spin. And both of them will come, the SARDs will come to this. And it looks like there's a little bit of a programming you do with that switch there. But we'll see how that is. This will be the first time doing this, but I've built these before for the refit and they work great. So let's get started, and we'll put this one away until another time. I'll probably almost build both of them at the same time, but just so I don't get parts mixed together. Let's open this up and get everything we need out. So here's our timing circuit and socket, and we got to make sure that that notch is in the correct way. And we got a capacitor here. There's our variable resistor that you just take a screwdriver and turn. Two different resistors, and these are the terminals for to wire up to power, and then your output. And that's basically the board there. Nothing overly fancy. That's her. And it pretty much, diagrams even on the circuit board show you, and you can tell the variable resistor goes there, the chip goes there, the capacitor goes there. Inputs and outputs. It does have a plus and minus, so you know which way to solder it. And it looks like a board like this, okay, so the top, it's plus and minus there, so it's the same thing on this side, plus and minus. So fairly simple. You can just look at this one, it's going to be the same, and they just go in there just like that. So what do I want to start with first? I know we got to do a little bit of bending to get the feet for this to fit, because if I remember correctly, yeah, we got to kind of extend those to fit. So maybe we'll jump on that one first. We get those two. The soldering boards are fairly simple. You just put the device in and just hit it with solder on the other end, and then clip the extra pieces off. I want you fit. You fit in that one fine. I don't know if I put those two in, solder them. And then bend this one forward. And give it a slight bend now so I can get these in further. There, that's better. Because I do like it better. Let's get it to pre-fit. There we go. Just kind of bend the single one a little bit, and then the other one want to go in there. And that way I can feel that all the feet are coming through a little bit. Can get them down a little more. There we go. I just feel better when they're sticking out. I'm use my tool to get them to bend in there a little more. I'd really like it to seat all the way down. It looks like I'm getting more of the bend on the, because it's a little tab. There we go. Now it's really coming up through. And that makes me feel better. Now we're getting a good connection. And then what I can do is I can use this just to hold the board. Make sure the part is staying in there pretty good by itself, so I can take the solder here. Should tin this first. There we go. That's pretty much it. It's simple. Make sure you get it hot enough by not overheating the board. And I always like to see some solder flow up through the top. There I did pretty well. The other two, not as much, so that one and that one. That upper one and that one I'm going to heat up just a hair more. Try to get it to wick its way through. Hey, make sure you're really getting contact to the, yeah, there it is. So you're really getting contact to these, to the circuit. Like that one came up really nice. It really, you know, it's gonna be hard for you to see, but it bubbled up through. Try one more here. There we go. That one came up better. And I can even put a little dab on the top, just to make sure. But most of the time you solder from the other end. There. And you want nice, of course, like with anything, you want nice shiny solder joints. And when you take a small screwdriver, you can go in there and you can turn this, and we'll set it to center to adjust what speed you want. And I guess we can go with the capacitors. Let's look. It looks like the large one, and you know, it doesn't really matter which way it goes, but it looks like the large one goes in that spot. Sometimes it's just good to make a little, just kind of start doing that to the capacitor or the resistor, sorry, until you can get both of those to reach. And I kind of like my stuff to be neat, so try to keep it center instead of like pushing it one way or the other. And you can just pull it down. Grab those two and you can pull either way to center on there. It doesn't have to be. And sometimes just squishing those in so that they're kind of doing that, holds it in there. Sort of, kind of. Actually, a lot of times I like to do is bend them outwards. More like that. Oh. See if I can get that in the camera. Bend them outwards. That way and that way. And that'll hold it nice and flush to the circuit board. I saw a guy on a YouTube channel had a circuit board holder, and it was pretty neat. I think you could spin it and all kinds of things, but it would grab them on the sides, and it was kind of cool. Give you a little extra hands for this. And it adjusted to whatever size board you needed. Yep, and see a little solder flow coming up. Should be just a little dome come up. That means that, you know, because a circuit board really is like, you know, flat wire sandwiched between this stuff, and the little silver parts that you see on both ends are attached to that in a sense. So the more you can get that solder to flow through and come out the other side, the more you know you have a good connection. And we can keep on going, but I'm going to get these out of the way, and you just come in here and you just snip them off flush once you're done soldering them. And it's as simple as that. You don't have to do that every time, but sometimes those little things get in your way. So there's that one, and we'll go ahead and do the other resistor. Like I said, I'll just start making a little bit of a bend. You know, get them so they'll line up, and just give a tug. Sometimes you can just push it straight down too. And like I said, it doesn't have to. It can be one way or the other. It really doesn't matter. But I kind of just like to make my things look neat. So, and while you're holding it on this side, you can just give those a little bend, and it will hold it. And again, we'll just keep on doing the same thing. And like I said, these circuit boards don't take long to do. But the money you save by building it by yourself is definitely worth it. That one flowed through pretty good. That one, like I said, it's probably got a good one, but let's make sure. I like to see it seep through. That's the proper way. And this one might just want to be stubborn. Could be the way, you know, the post is going through the. It's closing it up, or there's just not enough solder, and it's not enough for it to flow all the way through. But that looks pretty good to me. Yeah, I see it coming through. Trim the excess off. Like I said, it's simple as that. Trying to hit the things in a row so we don't get in each other's way. Like I said, the resistors don't matter, but the capacitor actually has a positive and a negative side. And usually on the capacitor, the negative side, if I'm correct, you'll see like on this one it's a black capacitor, and which you can't see, but it's a black, and then it has that gray stripe on one side, and you'll see little negative slashes. That's your negative. Also, your positive will be the longer, the longer probe. Too, you can see the one's longer, just like a LED. That would be one way to tell if it's positive, but some reason if you cut it or remove one and then put it back, and you already trimmed them the same length, that little gray, let me turn the camera light on. Maybe you'll be able to see it then. That little gray stripe has negative slashes on it, so that'll help you know as well. Alright, so that is sensitive to how it goes in, but I don't think I'm going to do that next. I'm going to build my way up. So let's do a timing circuit cradle, and this is what allows this chip to actually make contact to the board, and plus then you can replace just that chip if there was an issue. And like I said, because many people will put these in the base so they can get to them, but I usually don't do that. And this has a way it's going to go. Even on a picture, it shows a little, it's like a square where all the holes are. That's the little notch. There's a notch in that little picture there. That's where that notch on the cradle goes, which is also where the little indent hole, it's like a half circle indent, that will how the chip goes in. So let's see if this all lines up, because these are a lot of feet that have to line up perfectly. Fell right in. You don't have to do any bending. Those just come through just enough, which is great. And this we won't be able to, and I think that's why I usually want to do those first, because you don't have a way to keep that up unless I tape it or something. But let's see. Oh, the chip's in the way. What I can do, let's try that. Sometimes this works too. Let's just hold it and just get two of them done. And I do have the notch the right way. Yep. Okay. No more solder. And I'll just tack. I need to get another new point on this gun. At least just tack two of them now, and now it holds it. And let's see if we can get something that I can rest this on. So it's probably a really good idea to put that on first, because then you can just lay it flat and go. Because now this variable resistor, which you can bend those in a little bit, kind of bend them in a little bit so it sits a little flush, but why bother? I don't want to risk bending it. It's not going to be in the way. It's not like it has a clearance issue in the model. So what could we use? I could use even the Scotch Brite's too big. Nope, that'll work. The only thing about Scotch Brite is I don't want like fibers to get into the chip part. But, and I will go back over those tack ones to make sure they soak. But a lot of times I like better when I actually touch the part and then touch solder. to it, because that initial heating up of the solder melting really gives you a better result than loading the tip with solder and trying to. A lot of times the reason for a cold solder joint is because one part didn't get as hot as the other. Hence the word cold solder joint. So you kind of want them both really hot in order for them to take the solder and the solder to bond them. There we go. And I can kind of look in there and see that some of the solder is poking up, but the chip, but this thing is all the way down. And then what will happen is then that gets, which these sometimes are fun to get in the timing circuits chips. But that's the way it's supposed to be. Everything to the left. That's why I definitely leave this to last, because this guy sticks up all high too. You know? Alright. And I think even these sometimes might be a good idea to do first. It's like you kind of want to do this one and this one, so that's how I'm going to do the other one. I forgot. I remember now from doing the other ones. Because they're so low profile and they're hard to hold. You know, I can do this, but it kind of takes one of my hands away and I can't put the solder up to it. So I'm going to have to do the old solder on the tip. Just to tack one in. But yeah, it gets hot. Let's see if I can hold that without actually having my hand touch the metal. Ooh, that gets hot. So note to yourself, do those first. They're the lowest profile. And you'll save yourself a headache. Then you can just do something like this, but I'm going to have to do something like that. That's actually working pretty good. I'm actually going to have to do something like this because I did them now. And like I said, you want to, it's so much better if you works so much better if you touch the solder to the iron when it's touching the circuit board. And I got a little bit of a lean, but that's okay. Solder is coming up through. The way to fix the lean is to try to form both of them at the same time. It's just not easy when it's that hot. There we go. I'd rather have them probing up a little bit. I'd rather have that tilled up a little bit, that way I get a good circuit, but we've got nice shiny soldered points. Actually, that one's kind of a little milky. Let's give it a touch. There we go. That's better. So, yeah, I should have done that first. I'll show you the other one because I'm not using that. It's really, I forgot how fast this really goes. And on these little things, of course, the straight short ones go into the board. And the one that's actually labeled positive and negative, I believe, is the power supply. Yep. And again, since I didn't do it the way I should have, it's bowing down a little bit, so I'll just do this. Still there. That'll work. Yeah, so that's looking pretty good. Fairly simple. Just got one more thing to do. And like I said, the capacitor is polarity sensitive. So, like I said, the longer end, which I think is called, the anode, will go there. And like I said, the one side here, again, is got the actual gray stripe with the negative symbols on it. And you can get this to pull as far down as you can get it to go. It's good. And then you can do the same thing we do with the resistors, give them a little bit of a bend so it keeps it nice and tight. That way you can flip it over. There we go. And we definitely got some flowage come up through, so everything looks good. And that's basically it. Trim your excess pieces off. A lot of times these little ends you clip off, they work good for little jumpers if it doesn't matter. Nothing's gonna hit them. I've done that. Or little extenders, especially for SMD LEDs. I did that because that wire is so thin, and they pre-strip them. So, and I don't know. I don't know if there's a tool out there that I can get that will strip those things, or if you can just heat them and the wire goes away, like magnet wire, the insulation. But sometimes I'll solder those on. It gives me a better connection, especially when you want to, solder a bunch of, things together, like a power thing, if you have several of them, negatives coming together to one negative going back to the power source, you can use these little clippings, solder them on into that little wire, and that way you have a bunch of these that give you a better soldering connection. Sometimes I keep a few of those. But you always get them because you're cutting them off LEDs and resistors. The resistor ones work the best because they're so thin and bendable, you can actually twist them really easy. Where the ones that are on, like, LEDs are kind of got a thickness to them. So, alright, so, and then the next simple process, hopefully these aren't all bent weird, it's usually spread out. They're kind of usually, spread out, but like I said, that little half circle notch in that will go exactly the same way the circle notch of that is. And you kind of want to, and this is the fun part because there's all these different little feet that got to go in that socket, so you kind of get one ready and push the other ones in so that they will go into the socket. I try to do this carefully. pushing each one. You feel when they start falling in the socket, and then just give it a push. And then make sure it's seating itself good and level. It looks like it's a little crooked. I don't know how much that matters because it's definitely in there. But I do want to make sure that it's not because of one bent funny or something like that. It's in there. And that's it. That is the finished circuit board. I mean, literally that simple. So I'm even gonna do the other one really quick, and hopefully my camera don't run out, and we'll try to do this the right way. Like I said, capacitor. You're definitely last. You will be last. Let's do these first. I'm even going to try to do both at the same time to be really quick. Flip them over. Give them a shove in. This might make it easier to get them leveled the way you want. Yeah, big time. Because I just tacked them in one leg. So I have one leg to heat up to get them to where they're sitting flush, because they just, if I have it, want to tend to get soldered when you just lay them like this. They tend to want to get soldered with them pushed down. I'll go and heat the other side up once the other side cools, just to make sure. Beautiful. There we go. Like I said, that's a smarter move. Let's go for the next low. You kind of want to go for the lowest things first, besides the resistors, because they're easy to do. Alright. And again, circuit board, carriage. This one's not mine. There it is. Make sure the notch is the right way. It's a little higher than those, so it's going to work out good that I can just flip it like that. Like I said before, you want to make sure those little prongs are poking through nice. That means it's down nice onto the circuit board. And boom. That's simple. And we'll go and think the smaller one goes to R1. Yep. Bend those down. Try to do it semi-evenly so it's easy to square off. Actually, you gotta try to hit both of these at the same time. Once you get knowing where things go, you can kind of just flow. Everything's beautiful. So you only have to flip over once. Very nice. Trim, 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 and trim. Get these out of the way. Do a quick pre-bend on these guys. Forward a little bit.
So this is, I do not want to discuss it on the program because this is an eBay purchase, kind of an impulse buy, and I spent too much on it because I'm a jerk and didn't do the research, and it arrived and I was like, oh my god, it's terrible. So this is ostensibly Kirk's chair from Star Trek, but in no way, shape, or form specifically is it anything remotely approaching.
All right.
It's a little sad, and it's not accurate. No, it's totally sad and not accurate, and it wobbles, and it's just, I won't even say it. It's, that's it? Yeah, no, it's bad. It's not comfortable. Oh. Yeah, like the butt blank to depth is wrong. It's, the buttons aren't right. Where's the intercom? I don't know. Nothing. Yeah. Well, so it's actually can, because no, it's not even, whatever. It's ridiculous. Basically, this has sat here for the last year, making me angrier and angrier. And that had a purpose. Okay. The purpose was make me angry enough to make my own. Is this the time where we do the big reveal? Here we go. Where's the back here? Right out of here and walk in the next right. Good.
There we go.
Holy cow.
Again,
So this is accurate in,
our longer prong is the positive.
I think there might be a couple places in which this chair is not 100% accurate, a bit more like 99.9% accurate. And there are some people
Shove that all the way down.
and go, you got this wrong. So
Give it a little bend so it holds.
that's always the case. I built the thing entirely from scratch with the chair, and all the upholstery, and all the
Like I said, it does on the circuit board say positive, so you know which way that goes in. Anything that really has a that's polarity sensitive will do that on the circuit board. It'll give you a clue of what is what.
It's a tricky build because so many, okay, there is one part that isn't finished. I've not yet finished.
Again, make sure oh yeah, I got a really good flow through.
Besides that,
Cut them off.
it is, within a quarter or an eighth of an inch, really.
Like I said. Take this. Ooh, it's getting windy outside.
So, as I was building it, I was thinking, I'd love to have a piece with no other control. Something special here. So I ended up adding a couple of pieces.
Boom. That one went in much nicer. Make sure that notch is to the right side. See you well. And there we are. There's the second one. So Appreciate you watching. I just wanted to show you how simple that is really to do. Self-explanatory. There's a diagram on in the instructions. He sends you an email with the whole instructions for the whole kit. So it shows you exactly how this is supposed to be. So you can actually look and get a visual saying, okay, that looks like how he has it, so we're good. You can save lots of money by building your own flashboards. It's a simple timing circuit with a variable resistor to change how fast that timing circuit sends it. Real easy. So until next time, we'll work on the Bassard collector light board. This has definitely got a bigger chip because it's dealing with a bunch of lights. Got different capacitors in there, all kinds of other different posts and resistors, and it should be interesting in a program mode switch. And he does explain how that works. You got to press and hold for like 3 seconds and stuff. I'll figure that out once I do it. But all right, there we go. Thanks for watching, and like I said, next time we'll move to that. And till then, see ya.